Hello everyone, and welcome back to Diablo 3. One thing I was gonna mention is I had planned to start a new project now that I've finished with Titan Quest, which would have been very much in the same style as Diablo 3, like another action role-playing game basically. And the question is if you, the viewers, have become tired of those. I don't want to mention exactly which one it would have been. Would have been one that's slightly more gloomy and sinister maybe than Diablo 3. And with a much more, I guess, diverse character development. Like incredibly complex. But as I said, it would be rather similar in terms of gameplay. Meaning you now have a chance to tell me, are you completely bored with these? Would you rather I don't do them? Because again, it's not a very story-driven game. It does have a story, but just like Diablo 3, which also has a story, you still spend the majority of time running about, hitting things and collecting items.
I strike at your heart.
Okay. I expected that to be more problematic, and my inventory is full. So let's get back to town. Which caused all my fetishes to die. I think I'll equip those. And this is two-handed, so I'm definitely not equipping it. Anything else, maybe? No. Nah. I have, by the way, also, as I said, I've gotten a new Diablo account recently, just after Christmas, because I felt like it. So I've started playing on that, and I have, shall we say, started leveling, and I think I'm up to level 44 now, on which is, by the way, the reason you saw certain items missing from the chest. Basically, I can't transfer characters or anything like that. But since I don't feel like doing everything completely from scratch, I just want to basically start again with the achievements, because I kind of rushed through it all, and so I just wanted a fresh start there.
Time to loot.
But basically I didn't want to have to go through all the effort of like grinding all the money to level up, to increase my chest size, and yeah, it costs money to increase your chest size, cough cough, and all this sort of thing, so I basically transferred some money between the accounts. And I also took the perfect square gems and put them on the other account, just so that I would have an easier time leveling up, basically. When these guys have the random shield about them, they can take substantially more punishment. As you can probably see. So some items missing. I will also be, well, I don't have as much gold anymore as I did because I leveled up the storage fully. So that obviously took a fair amount of money. But once the wizard is on level 60 on that account, I basically take all the wizard equipment I had on this one and just move it across, so that I will have a fairly strong wizard on the other one. I cannot transfer the items I've crafted, obviously, those are account bound, so tough luck. But still, the majority of stuff is transferable, because there's no soul-bound stuff in this game, which I've always really hated. I guess you need certain amounts of soul-bound in an online game like World of Warcraft, for example, to just help the economy. Otherwise, obviously, if someone finds cool items, he could sell them all when he doesn't need them anymore, and that would push prices down. Wow, intense battles down here. And we find a braid.
You think you know anguish? Soon my concubine will show you their true meaning.
So yeah, notice that woman with the spider body and such, that's his concubine, which is a fancy word for female paid to engage in amorous activities with. Or if you prefer, prostitute. Let me just check. Yeah. And later on we will also see what Asmodan looks like. I think I actually left in the video sequence where you could see him, but currently I'm not entirely certain. Anyway, once you've seen her in battle already, and once you've seen him in battle, you can ask yourself how that is supposed to work.
I strike at your heart.
Like how they would do it, basically.
I do hope you're not in over your head.
Never.
So that was something which I found incredibly weird. By the way, if they have that random green, I don't know, spiral-ish thing above their head, that's because they're charmed, so they will fight for me. Luckily in this game, even when they're charmed and fight for me, I can still fight them, and they won't fight back. So that means I don't have to wait for the effect to wear off. Which has been the case in, I think, Torchlight, it was Torchlight 1. Where if you charmed an enemy for 10 seconds, you couldn't fight him, so he became an ally, basically. And sometimes that meant, like, bosses were immune to that effect anyway, but sometimes it meant you charmed an enemy and he was the last one left, and then you just had to spend 10 seconds waiting for the effect to wear off. So they handled that a lot better in this game. Another thing is that I think the closed beta for the Reaper of Souls, so the add-on, has begun a while ago already, actually. I think last year. But I obviously don't have access to that. It's a very limited amount of people who did get access. I hear a lot of positive things. I've not really checked it out in detail though, so I don't know exactly how the loot system, for example, changes. I do sincerely hope they're introducing something which makes white items somewhat more valuable, because as it stands, there's no reason at all to pick up white items ever. Like, even in the first level of the game, when you've just started a new character for the first time, you've got no money and nothing. There is almost entirely no point in picking up white items. There is a point in picking them up to use them, because if you have no shoes at all, even white shoes, even like the grey damaged shoes are better. But there's no reason ever to sell them, basically. It's not worth even the time, because even for like white items you get on Inferno difficulty in the last act, it's only worth like maybe 10, maybe 15 gold if you're really lucky. And that's at a point in the game where enemies drop you stacks of 1,000 gold easily. So I'm hoping they will do something to, I don't know, give some sort of meaning to the white items. Because in pretty much every other game of this sort, picking up white items has some sort of purpose, especially early on. It will give you some money in the beginning of the game. Not much, obviously. Later on you'll stop picking them up and only go for the enchanted stuff. But early on, I think it should be a valid source of getting money somehow, or I don't know, maybe make it so that white items have a chance to drop with higher base stats and then make them enchantable. And as I said, I have no idea if that's possible. Like if they have included systems like that.
Close now. I can almost feel your breath on my skin. The anticipation is exquisite.
Weirdo. But that would be a cool system, I think, where, for example, you could have a white item drop that has, I don't know, let's just say the highest armor you can get on a helmet, on a legendary or rare helmet is like, let's just say 600, just to have a number. And then you could get a white item dropping that has, say, 700. So, in terms of just pure armor, it would be better. But obviously having no properties, it would not be desirable. But then maybe make it so that you can get items which basically turn white items into higher rarities. Which is something I've seen in another game. Quite a cool feature there. So for example, if you, in that game, if you find a completely unenchanted, they're white in that game as well. So if you find a white item, it won't have any magic properties, but it might have sockets. And so you might find a white item where you really like the sockets. Sockets aren't just, I don't know, you don't just have a number of sockets in that game, they have different colors and combinations and such, so you could find a white item that has really useful sockets for you. And then there's items in that game which allow you to turn that white item into a rare item, or even a legendary item.
This is going badly.
And then in addition to it, there's items which allow you to switch around the random properties on items, and there's some which allow you to not change the properties themselves, but change their values. So instead of 5% magic find, you could get 10% from that item, and it's always randomized. So basically finding a reasonably good rare item, it happens obviously, it's just as a drop basically, but you could technically get a much better item if you, for example, found a really cool white item and went ahead and enchanted that, and then used all these I don't know, buffing items, I guess, to change around the properties and the values on the item, and that could give you a much better item at a substantially higher cost. So they could do, I think it would be cool if they did something like that in this game here, where converting that white item which has a higher base value, converting it to a rare item and such, would potentially make it better, like noticeably better, but also cost a lot more. Just like an NPC, for example, who says, for say 100,000 gold, I add a random enchantment to this item, basically. Up to a limit, obviously, or maybe there's a chance to remove a magic property as well. Just stuff like that. Oh, there she is. I'll be a bit quiet.
Oh yes. I've been looking forward to this. Come now. You can do better than that. Why are you... Shh. I thought we understood.
Yeah, I'm slightly overpowered, so that's an easy boss fight. The way I did it, I would have gotten an achievement as well, which you get for not killing any of the spiderlings she summons, which she does, which you didn't see. But I've already gotten that. So now let's take out the Sin Heart.
You know, I'm a little disappointed that Azmodan hasn't tried to recruit me. My credentials are exceptional.
Yep. And now it's time for Azmodan. And that's not a long way away. I think it's 1 level, maybe 2.
I cannot.
Yeah, I know, it's a hand crossbow, it's completely pointless. Ooh. Increasing my damage slightly? Yep, definitely. I want those. And here we are.
Let's kill that demon bastard.
In the core of ARREAT. And in the second game, this was a mountain, by the way, which I think we've heard that in some of the lore, which I've picked up. The Lord of Destruction, which was the add-on to Diablo 2, in that you could, or rather you had to, fight Baal. I don't know how they pronounced it exactly. But he had corrupted that world stone. We've heard about that. No, treasure goblin.
My strike is true.
Wow, he almost got away. But that's the huge advantage of the Spirit Walk. It allowed me to pass through the enemies which blocked me off, basically. I don't like losing treasure goblins. As I said before, they have a tendency to drop cool items. As I said, I've never gotten legendaries from them yet, but I've gotten some cool rares, and
Fate smiles on me today.
so I hate it when they get away. And it's been happening less and less, basically, as I got better at the game. My first playthrough, pretty much from Nightmare difficulty onwards, I did not get a single one, just because I was playing self-found, so I hadn't bought anything from the auction house. Meaning I was really mal-equipped. I didn't replay quests at all, because, I don't know, I find it pointless to... well, that was one of the points I really hated about the early game, that I would go ahead and fight enemies and fight my way through a quest. And then, in order to basically be strong enough to do the next bit, I would have to do that exact same quest 5 more times or so, just to get a better item. And since I hated that, I didn't do it, which meant by Nightmare was still doable. But by the time I reached Hell, it just became terrible. It became a nightmare. Oh, and there's the Heart of Sin, which is where we find Asmodan.
Nephilim fool, when the soul stone is embedded in my flesh, the 7 shall be as one within me. I will be the sum of all hells, the prime evil.
Now compare the size of him to the size of the boss we just fought, and ask yourself how that is supposed to work out with her being his concubine.
Arrogant Nephil, enough! The dark power of hell will consume you.
Nah, it's all good. Again, a very quick boss fight, which would have gotten you another achievement, which you get for him not being able to summon any help. In the normal course of events, he would summon sort of random demon tower things. I don't know what they're called exactly, but they're like floating tower things which summon demons, and to get the achievement you would usually have to basically destroy these things before they can spawn anything. And those are for a wizard and kind of pointless. Like, they're not bad, but meh, I don't need them. And I don't want a shield either. So let's take the Soul of Asmodan.
We've done it! Quickly now, Leah! Trap Asmodan's essence within the Soul Stone! It's done!
I never dared dream. All evil lies trapped within that stone. Once it is destroyed, the eternal conflict will finally end.
Destroying the stone is no simple matter. There are rituals to consider. We must return to the keep and make our final preparations.
Yay! We've done it! Asmodan is defeated as well as Belial. So we've got no one left, don't we? Well, I guess we'll find out next time. I'll see you then. Bye bye!